Lifestyles brought together by one single fact, their passion for the motorcycle. There are 20 million bike enthusiasts. And here to tell us about the biggest conclave of these enthusiasts is Bill Rediker. Bill?
Hugh, it happens every spring. Bikers from around the nation, from around the world, pouring into Daytona Beach, Florida, drawn by the most famous motorcycle race of the year, the Daytona 200, and by the lure of, well, the other motorcyclists.
The asphalt of Daytona, the speed, the danger, and the precision. Gina Bovaird is a race mechanic, working in a micro-mechanical world where tolerances of 1/1000th of an inch can mean the difference between winning, losing, and crashing. But Tom does not race this $14,000 motorcycle. That's a job for his wife, Gina.
Basically, the most important thing is that my wife is riding it. So I have to make sure that the engine doesn't fail, or doesn't fail in such a way that it gets her hurt.
It's 1,300 miles from the Bovaird home in Pennsylvania to the racetrack of Daytona Beach, Florida. It is also a different world. It's called Motorcycle Week, but for many, the races which will be held here are merely an excuse for bikers of every breed to show up and show off. They arrive from virtually every state and a dozen foreign countries. 80,000 motorcyclists and fans, united by their passion to ride, but sharply divided into two very distinct and separate groups. These are the bikers. Some call them outlaws. They work hard to project a mean and ferocious image. They're here to have a good time. And these are the professionals, highly trained athletes competing more for the money than the attention. They're here for the Daytona 200, the first major event of the racing year. The Daytona 200 is the most prestigious motorcycle race in the world. There are top riders here from Japan, Europe, Australia, and of course, the United States. All of them competing for a piece of the $88,000 purse.
Ooh, whoa.
How's she doing?
Whoa.
While Gina and 79 other contenders spend the next 2 days preparing for the 200, amateur racers dominate Bike Week attention with their own off-track event called the Alligator Enduro.
10 seconds. Go!
Like wild boars snorting and scrambling through the Florida underbrush, motorcycling gets its dirtiest in this grueling 80-mile test of endurance. Motorcycling also gets some of its harshest criticism from this sort of activity, with conservationists charging off-road biking has scarred wilderness lands. However, riders escape such criticism in the Alligator because this is an organized event on specifically designated lands. If all of this seems like some sort of modern-day escapism, that's probably true. But motorcycles have provided such an outlet for decades. The roaring 20s and 30s saw motorcycles enjoy tremendous popularity on the racetrack, both in Europe and in this country. But bikers made their biggest impact in the 40s and 50s, when setting records, any kind of records, was the rage.
I don't want a pickle, just want to ride on the motorcycle.
The 40s also gave birth to the Daytona races, when the beach was the fast track. But high-speed motorcycles forced the riders onto the asphalt. Along with technological advances came monetary advances, enough, in fact, to make 29-year-old world champion.
Racing, I've won over $4 or $5 million.
That's a good living.
Yeah, it is. It was, you know, you can take a motorcycle at 14 years old, learn how to ride it. By the time you're 18 years 5 years old, I was making over, well, a lot of money a year.
Gina Bovaird has qualified for the race. She is the only woman to do so.
Before I went out in the heat race, I heard some guys talking back in the garage about, you know, I'll bet you a case of beer that she'll never qualify, or, you know, that kind of thing. They were, that really eggs me on. You know, it makes me go faster, so I guess I should be thankful for it.
For racers, motorcycling is a living. For bikers, it is a way of life.
Daytona just the other night, straight out of the sticks into the city lights. I traded my truck for a couple of wheels, gonna ride a motorcycle just to see how it feels. Nobody ever told me about that bike lingo. It's a whole new way of talking that you just got to know if you want to ride a bike, that is. Got to learn to speak motorcycle, boy.
That's a 55 panhead, custom frame, P&P girder, mags, all tricked out in paint, engraved.
Okay, what does all that mean?
They were talking about flatheads, panheads, knuckleheads, shovelheads, Springer front ends, and slicks. And here I am hanging out with brothers and dudes when all I ever knew before was hicks. Well, I don't know.
What does all that mean?
If I can ever catch on to this amusing, confusing code of the road called the biker's communication.
This is a fully radical chopper. The engine and all the components like a chain, everything is 24-karat gold plated, which is pure gold. Total value of the bike is about $18,500. I spent about 2 years building this.
Saying something about kickers and strokers and hogs and dressers and 3 or 4 kinds of glides. Then they lost me completely when they started to speak about how good the damn thing rides. Well, I just don't know if I can ever catch on to this amusing, confusing code of the road called the biker's communication. Dial it on, boy.
While their language may be unique, their appearance creates the stereotypic image of menacing marauders. But it is mostly image, created for identity and little more. They may be factory workers or clerks, but when dressed up or dressed down, they become members of the Brotherhood of Bikers, and their cycle is part of the costume. However, membership in this fraternity can carry a high price.
2.5 years ago, I had a motorcycle accident coming back from California. I hit a semi head-on collision, and luckily I came out of it.
Motorcycling can be dangerous. In fact, studies show that chances of dying in a motorcycle accident are 3 times greater than in an auto accident. Even the racing professionals are not immune to injury.
Good day, everyone, from Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida. It is a beautiful day for cycle racing and the culmination of Cycle Week 1981.
This is where all the preparations are put to the test. The 200, a 200-mile race covered in 52 laps by riders reaching speeds of up to 180 miles per hour.
The bikes are all lined up here on pit road. All of the riders are bent over their bikes, ready to put the clutch in. They now have put them in gear. Everyone is off the track, and the green is up, and they have started the Daytona 200.
They blast off the line, and down they go in a 41-rider stampede.
Hard, they drive to the left. Knees dragging on the asphalt. It's Ben Russell, 400 pounds of machinery to the right. Flying wedge of 3 riders now trying to chase down your 2 leaders. As these next wave now makes his way around some race traffic and wrestles the bike through the chicane.
Really getting it on this afternoon as he brings that motorcycle right up against the top of the banking. High, bod, and handsome.
Kenny Roberts has had trouble going out of turn number 5 and back onto the banking. He is slowing down and dropping down to the apron.
After only a few laps, many of motorcycling's top contenders are out of the race, victims of mechanical malfunctions.
Motorcycle races in the world to win because all of the top tuners and builders in the business come here. They build absolute rocket ship motorcycles, put them out there on the line, and they all run a wide open. The strongest survive.
Smooth turns and everything just feels right and the air feels good, and you hang your body off the bike and every little body movement changes your angle on the track, and this takes a lot of concentration.
They go way high under the 31-degree banking on the ocean side. Down to the inside. No, up to the outside goes Singleton. Singleton's going to try him. No, he picks to the inside. Back and forth.
The final time, Dale Singleton has the set of victory. He comes to the stripe, and Dale Singleton has won the 1981 Daytona 200.
Look at the entourage that's waiting for Dale Singleton as he comes on pit road.
For Gina and Tom Bovaird, the months of preparation back in Pennsylvania also end in victory. Although Gina does not place in the top 10, she becomes the first woman in history to finish the 200.
I just wanted to pace myself, and nothing real speedy, but just to, finish.
For most of us, the roar of a motorcycle evokes a variety of emotions, from fear to excitement. Yet for those who shared 7 days in Daytona Beach, there was little disagreement about why they have chosen the two-wheel way of life.
Just a different feeling. When you have problems, just take a ride. You seem to chase them all away. Untold freedom.
Freedom. It's an enthusiastic group.
Or relaxed.
You know, Bill, bike sales were up last year at a time when automobile sales were plummeting. How do you account for that?
A couple of reasons, Hugh. Economics for one, gasoline prices, and demographics for another. The big population bulge of people 20 to 30 years old. They're the big motorcycle buyers. And, of course, probably just plain escape.
Thank you, Bill. We'll be right back.